Hey everyone, this is Jennifer with Circa. We are on the Washington Memorial Mall here, right beside the Vietnam War Memorial, and we're seeing a bike. Now just imagine taking this bike all the way from California to here. Well, Ryan beside me, he's done just that, but really for a really good cause. Ryan, tell me a little bit about your journey so far.
Well, it's been a spiritual journey. It's been a mission. It's a pilgrimage. And it's been very inspiring to me, actually, because the people in this country are amazing. In general, the camaraderie is great. Complete strangers reach out to help me. Once they know what I'm doing, they really come together. And I'm glad I made it this far. This was a huge goal for me to make it to this point.
So Ryan, I mean, for people just tuning in, you're not just riding your bike, but you're really riding it for a really good cause. Tell us about that cause.
Yeah, the cause is for, basically my advocacy is for Gold Star families. And in this particular issue, it's Gold Star students. The foundation I'm raising money for, Children of Fallen Patriots, they help with scholarships, counseling, and placement programs for these young people that have lost a significant member of their family overseas or even in military accidents. And that's where my advocacy stands.
And I know this is really close to your heart. I know just a couple minutes ago we were down by the wall and you pointed out your grandfather. Tell us that background and really what's helping you get through this whole journey.
Well, when I was a little boy, when I was 12, 13 years old, I remember my mother and my grandmother being they were advocates too, with the Veterans of Foreign Wars, with Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Reading, Pennsylvania, and we came down here a lot throughout those years for events. And I remember standing down there as a little kid watching my grandmother and my mother reach up and put their fingers on his name, inscribe his name, and tears coming out of their eyes. But at that age, I didn't understand the significance of that at that point. You know, I've heard stories of my grandpa all my life growing up, but I never met him, obviously. So that sticks in my mind, and my mother and my grandmother, they're not with us anymore. So right now, they're kind of like my guardian angels. I think they've seen me through this. So this is now my turn to honor all three of those people. My mother, Pattie, as pedaling for Pattie, that's the name of my campaign, and my grandmother and my grandfather, Lee Charles Stein. So now is my time to honor all three of them.
Now, Ryan, you've pedaled, hundreds of miles. What kept you going? I can only imagine it was not an easy thing to do.
What kept me going was, like I said earlier, a lot of the selflessness of people across the country helping me, and every time I put it on perspective, you know, every time I was so fed up and tired and I just felt like I couldn't go any further and I questioned myself, I think about the sacrifice that I've made just in this journey. It pales in comparison to the sacrifice that all those people on that wall, and for that matter, the World War II memorial down there in Korea, and all the recent conflicts in the Gulf and Afghanistan, that what I went through is a walk in the park compared to what those young men and women have went through, and all their families for that matter.
And Ryan, I know you're from here, you're heading up to your hometown, to Reading, Pennsylvania, where your grandfather's from. Tell me what you'll be bringing up there, which is really important for your cause.
Yes, I have with me in my front left bag here, I keep it handcuffed there because that's just something in case that's very important to have that secure there as best as possible. And it's been riding with me underneath this flag by my heart, and inside the bag is my grandfather's flag and all his medals that he earned throughout his time in the service. And the flag itself was draped over his coffin in South Vietnam in Cho Lai, and eventually when he was sent back here to the States. And now I have it in there, and I'm going to pass that on to my brother and my sister as family heirlooms.
And after that, what's next? I know, what's the ultimate goal here?
The ultimate goal The ultimate goal is to finish the journey, finish the mission, complete it, get to New York City, all in one piece, all in intact, and hopefully have brought the attention of this subject to a lot of people along the way.
Why is it so important? I know you're really advocating for the Gold Star families who've, they've had someone who they've lost out and more. Why is it so important to support them?
Because along with the service and the sacrifice that the young men and women also put into this, sacrifice their lives, their bodily functions, their missing limbs and all that, the families that are left behind, they have all, in a sense, fought that battle with them, sitting at home, not knowing how their loved one is doing, if their loved one is okay, when someone comes knocking on the door with that notice. I can't imagine what my grandmother was going through in her mind in Paradise Hills, San Diego, when the car pulls up in front of their house and service members come out and knock on their door and break the news that Lee Charles Stein was killed in action. That they regret to inform that Lee Charles Stein was killed in the line of duty. So that's why my advocacy for Gold Star families is so strong and so personal with me, is because the pain and the heartache that is inflicted on them was also, I witnessed it, and in a sense it was passed on to me too. There's a big hole in my life. I'll never get to meet my grandfather. So it's my purpose is to keep his memory alive, and to keep all my grandmother and my grandfather, my grandmother and my mother's memory alive, and their sacrifice. And along with all Gold Star families, they all sacrificed, and they still are today. Many of them are probably walking up and down these sidewalks, and I've met a couple of them along the way.
So all the proceeds to your campaign are going to fallen patriots. Tell me about that cause and that organization.
Yes, what I raise on this journey goes to the Foundation of Children of Fallen Patriots, and what they do there, this foundation is pretty awesome. They use those funds for scholarships, counseling, and placement programs for these young people, these young students going through school that have lost their mother or father overseas or even in military accidents. This helps broaden their perspectives for the future, considering that huge loss in their life. This helps them, gives them a mobility to move forward, and get an education in this global economy that we have.
So along the trip, you've been asking people to donate a specific amount that has a significance to it. Tell us about that.
Yes, I suggest to people, I suggest a $22 individual donations. It's not too much. It's reasonable. Almost anybody can do that. And the number 22 is significant because statistically there are 22 vets that take their own lives every single day in this country, which is unbelievable, that number. I still can't even, I can't comprehend the idea of that. Every day I wake up in the morning, I do 22 push-ups for each one of them. And I hold the 23rd because in my mind, there's someone out there that's contemplating, that's going through the worst, darkest time of their life, can't find any help. They just can't find the help they need or the escape. And I do that, I hold that, and I just concentrate, and I'm hoping that, I'm thinking about that person, whoever they are. I'm hoping that they don't follow through on it. So, and it's also an honor if the tragedy happens. So it's in memory of, that number is in memory of all those people that are still here, that are suffering and still fighting the war in their minds, physically, emotionally, right here on this soil.
Well, thank you so much, Ryan. You still have a good amount to go. By when do you expect you would be getting to New York City?
Well, I'm hoping to be in Reading, Pennsylvania within the next 5 days. It's doable. It's 150 miles away. It's doable. And lots of hills. And then New York, I want to spend a few days with my family. I haven't seen them in 6 years. And after that, I'm hoping to go from Reading up to New York City. And if I can do that in 5 days, I'll be stoked.
Well, good luck, Ryan, and thank you so much for sharing your story. For Circa in Washington, I'm Jennifer Munoz.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you, Ryan.
I hope I didn't stumble over my words too much.